Welcome from the deep. I am Mike.
And I'm Brett.
And today we are going to be talking about the 1978 film Halloween. This is a movie that I've wanted to review for a long, long time, ever since we started this channel.
I genuinely cannot believe that we haven't.
I know. I literally had to look up whether we've done this movie or not. We have not. So we've done the other Halloween, like the
Right.
one from a few years ago.
Well,
but we have not done the original.
And this is a first time watching for me. I said this is a first time watching for me.
I know. I heard you. I know that that's not true.
You don't know that's not true.
I do know.
You
and I have watched this movie together before.
I could be the most naive horror fan to ever exist.
Could?
Just continue with the episode.
So, like I said, today we're talking about Halloween. This is the thing that fucking started all of it. I think that if you are familiar with horror movies, like modern horror at all, you can trace...
Of any kind.
Well, mostly, yes, but mostly like what people think of as horror movies, i.e. slashers, and, you know, outside of like paranormal stuff. Slashers are the thing I think most people think of when they think of like classic horror movies. You can trace almost every single one of those slasher movies back to this. This, and you could argue one or two other movies are the proto slasher. And I think that but I think that most people, when we're talking about modern day horror slasher tropes, are going to point back to Halloween because, dude, when you watch this and you think about it, like, this is before Friday the 13th. This is before every single major slasher that came in the 80s. This was fucking before it, and they are all being made because of it. So this is one of those movies that is
heart out.
Dude, this is just one of those movies that goes so fucking hard, and it's so goddamn good.
In every single way, dude. I was sitting there watching this movie and I'm going like, this is like a good film. It's
like just objectively,
film.
it's shot well. The lighting is incredible. There are so many moments in this that are just so full of fucking insane amounts of tension, and you don't get that out of every movie from the 70s. So
you know what I loved most about, not most, but one of the things I noticed that I enjoy so much about this movie is it doesn't feel the need to explain fucking everything. And it's so refreshing when we live in a day and age where every fucking movie needs a universe and needs a background and needs an explanation. Like, I would love to know how long it took after this movie came out for people to genuinely wonder, where'd the mask come from? Because I feel like if this movie came out today, everybody would be like, we never found out where the mask came from. We don't this and no. It's just a good movie that we get to watch what I would consider the horror genre's Lazario chase around underage girls. And that might sound creepy, and that's because it is.
Yeah, I had a lot of thoughts about that actually last night. We'll get to it, but the ending specifically, and we are going to be talking about spoilers throughout this whole thing. If you haven't seen Halloween by now, I don't know why you're
50 years old, dude.
Here.
It's 50 years old.
Yeah.
That would be like us ruining the end to Casablanca.
Right. So I think in the end of this film, and just to jump off to a point here, we'll dig deeper into this here in a little bit, but I think that this movie has the perfect ending. And you can tell that they wrote this, specifically John Carpenter and Deborah Hill, who wrote this movie. They wrote this movie to serve both as this is the ending. If we never get to make another movie, that's fine, because this stands on its own. But if we ever want to make a sequel, there is room for that as well. And it's done masterfully and in a way that no one does it anymore. And it's because you and I have talked about this a lot recently, specifically about photography and cinematography and everything. Simplicity always wins. And it is the people that know what they're doing, that do not overcomplicate shit and are able to use simplicity in a way that helps and doesn't hurt. Somebody that is an amateur filmmaker could be making something that's simple and not have nearly the impact that this movie has. The reason
This movie almost this movie almost is like made in a way that an amateur filmmaker would make it.
It's so simple. And it's
so simple.
The reason it's so strong is because it's so simple. Michael Myers' the setup for his entire story is terrifying. He is this kid that goes and kills his sister. Now, granted,
just to do it, by the way.
Yeah, just to do it. And he's very little. He's like, 7 or 8 years old? Now, today, that's not nearly as shocking as it was in 1978 because, I don't know, 4 days ago, somebody walked into a fucking place and, shot up a bunch of people.
Right.
It's just not.
Right. Well,
one kid killing his sister is not nearly as shocking now as it was then.
No. This story is every day in the south side of Chicago now.
But the thing that lets it still work today is because Loomis has spent so much time with him that we have not seen. Loomis has spent huge amounts of time trying to get this man to speak or to verbalize anything. He's never said a word. So he's just been, and he says it in the movie. Loomis says he's just been kind of staring at a wall, imagining this night, waiting. He's inhumanly patient, I think is what he says. And it's the scariest possible setup for a knife-wielding maniac that you could possibly have. So,
well, dude, and here's the crazy thing. They actually nail so hard on the head a lot of traits that we would give to real serial killers now, like accurate traits. And if I'm not mistaken, this is either right after or right before the FBI's behavioral science unit really started doing like profiling and stuff like that. And so it's not that they got ahead of that, but I don't think the things that made a serial killer were super, super well known. And yet they still nailed it on the head with this. But that's the thing, is they don't try to make Michael Myers supernatural. They basically just make him a fucking psychopath. And the thing that's so scary about Michael Myers is how it just seems like a broken person. He's just that way. He was just born that way.
Yeah.
And what's so scary about that is there's fucking nothing you can do about it. There's nothing you can do about it. There's no appeasing him. There's no appealing to his softer side. He's just like this, but again, not in some over-the-top crazy way.
Well, I think especially in this one, like before we move on to any of the other movies, he's just a guy in this one.
Yeah.
And with Halloween 2, it plays on the same night, so there is a little bit of, crossover there. But beyond, we can't count Halloween 3 because that doesn't have Michael Myers in it. But
it's Halloween
4 and on, it definitely is. And I actually wish that they had done what he wanted to do and made this like an anthology series all set during Halloween, which is why he made Halloween 3 the way he did. But regardless, Halloween 4 and on, he really becomes this like almost Jason-like figure where he's like unkillable. And it's just over the top and crazy. In this, he's just an escaped lunatic. That's all he is, which is why this is so fucking scary.
Right.
And like you said, he was born that way. And like Loomis said, he's been sitting around waiting for this moment his entire life. The first fucking thing he does is march back home and start murdering people. It's just like, And what's really crazy is up to that point before he kills anybody, where we see it, he's only killed one person. I have always found that so fucking fascinating. Loomis is like he's the epitome of evil, and you can't save evil, and it's like, well, he's killed one person, and then just sat around in a room and never said anything. Like, granted, yes, we see he's a psychopath, but what's always bothered me is Loomis never really, especially considering he's never said anything, Loomis doesn't really have anything to back that up other than the killing of one person, which is fucked up. But it does seem a little excessive.
I like to think that had someone just gone and visited him in the first year of being there, all of this would have been avoided. And so just every time visitation came up, it just boiled more and it boiled more and it boiled more until he finally escaped and went, I'm going to kill my fucking sister.
All right. Well, I mean, we've kind of gone over all of this, but do you want to go ahead and give me your overall impressions of Halloween? I'll give you mine. We'll talk specifics and then we'll get into ratings.
Halloween is a movie that I feel like every time I watch it, I appreciate something new about it. It doesn't just have a well-written characters, albeit 70% of them are acted so poorly.
Especially the best friend in the knee socks. With the frizzy hair. She's terrible.
Fucking worse.
She's really bad. Yeah.
She's terrible, but dude, I'm constantly I constantly find new things to appreciate about this. And the thing this time around that I found that I appreciated so much about this movie is how the environment itself becomes more intense as we go through the movie. The beginning, when we first get the first murder, is done at night. It's very dark. It's very gloomy. It's on Halloween. And then the rest of the movie building up to the third act is actually all shot during the day. And so it's got this, like, it kind of eases you a little bit as you're watching it because it's all during the day. And Michael Myers' creepiness factor amps up throughout the day, and as his creepiness and as he almost gets closer, literally in proximity to Laurie, we get closer to the end of the day, and then finally night happens and shit just breaks loose. And that was the thing that I actually found myself appreciating the most about this, is how everything in this movie evolves cohesively and almost in relation to the other elements of the movie.
Before you move on real quick, I also want to point out he does that with color theory too, with all of the different colors that you're interacting with them. And then as he breaks out, there's more darker blues and blacks that seep into the overall color within the frame. So this movie, it's not very often that you get to say a horror movie is a masterclass in filmmaking, because let's be honest, quite often it's not. This is a fucking masterclass in filmmaking. From I'm sure they nailed the craft services table. The shit's so good. Like, this is pretty low budget. I doubt it.
Somebody was getting McDonald's at the very least. Nobody's coming to set knowing lunch isn't ready. And so this movie blows me away every single time that I watch it. And this being the 30th fucking time I've watched this movie was no different.
Yeah, so because I'm curious, I just looked this up, and they made this for $300,000, which is 1.4 million in 2022.
Billion. No, that's a B. It's a B. It's $1.4 billion now.
$1.4 million in 2022. So that means it's about 3 million in 2025. But yeah, dude, I mean, I agree.
Are you telling me
that was sarcasm?
Oh my God. I was like, are you fucking shitting me? We do live in hell.
So I mean, I definitely agree with everything you're saying. I think that the reason this works so fucking well is because it's one of the first times that we see obviously it's not the first, but it is one of the first times that we see a nightmare in suburbia come true. And Loomis even says it. He's come to your little town, Sheriff. This is the perfect nightmare for every single person in this country, especially at the time. This was scary as fuck that somebody could break out of a mental institution, wield a knife, and walk through a fucking suburban neighborhood and start killing innocent people, specifically teenage girls. This movie is the reason that every movie after it, Friday the 13th, and every other slasher that you could possibly want to name is made the way that it fucking is. It is because of this movie. This movie sets the precedent of a knife-wielding maniac chasing teenagers. This movie sets up the fucking tropes of the innocent girl lives. We could go, for real, I won't, but we could go down the fucking list of horror movie slasher tropes, and you will find almost all of them in one shape or another in its very basic form in this film. Brett said this is a masterclass in horror, and it holds up because of that. The cinematography in this movie is so insanely good that I was sitting there watching it, like when he's chasing her specifically, dude, that shot where she is in toward the end in the fucking closet and they light up his face. The music stings right when you notice it. Dude, it's all of these elements coming together perfectly to give so much fucking tension that like movies don't give you now. There's a certain amount of tension in this film that you do not get from modern day horror movies.
Dude, the one of the creepiest scenes in this movie actually happens during the day, and it's when he first gets into town, and there's that scene. Sorry, fly. There's that scene where she's walking down the sidewalk and he just walks in screen right.
Yeah.
And it just holds as she's walking down and he's there.
Talking about when he comes around from around the bush.
Yes. And he's not making any attempt to hide. He's there in plain sight. And like the longer it held, the more uncomfortable I got. And to all of the, not all, but to the last couple of directors I've worked with, I would like to say, this is how you let a scene speak for itself. And you know what I mean, based on the conversations I had on set with you.
Well, so
but in all seriousness, this is how you let a scene speak for itself by just letting it hold. The camera's not moving. The lighting isn't special. It's the fucking sun. The light is the sun, and there you don't flag the sun.
Well, and this comes into what I was saying is like, because it's in a suburban area and because everyone in the country knows what walking down a suburban street is like in the middle of the fucking day. That is what makes that so fucking scary. And it's because he's not hiding in the shadows or any of that. He is just standing in the middle of the day around a fucking bush. When they go to check it out, he's not there. It's just, dude, it's genius. It's fucking genius.
Do you think the scene would have been different and the neighborhoods would have reacted differently if the mask he was wearing wasn't white? I was thinking about that. I'm just sitting here going like, okay, so this is 1970s suburbia, not the most open-minded time. Like, does this work because it's white? I think it works because it's white.
I mean, maybe. And now that you say that, I don't think there's one non-white person in this film.
Nope. There sure isn't. This thing
I hadn't even considered that. That's interesting.
This thing is whitewashed like a motherfucker.
I mean... What was the guy's name that
still a good movie? I'm just saying.
Didn't a non-white guy? Yeah.
Mustafa Ashad. Yeah.
Akkad.
Akkad.
Yeah. That's what makes this even more interesting. Now with the
you're
time,
definitely not.
Go ahead.
You're definitely not putting a brown person in there. I'll tell you that right now.
I mean, just because of when it was,
Yeah. No.
It
I'm not
feels
saying that you
weird
shouldn't. I'm
when
saying,
you say that with a giant smile on your face. It felt a little.
well, because it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. I mean,
but the thing is like
the shaved head doesn't help. I'm aware of that.
You had mentioned, I'm going to move past it to break this awkwardness. You had mentioned at one point that they're not over explaining things, and I want to go into that for just a second, because this is before. Here's the thing, I've heard people like Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, among many other people, say things similar to this. The movie industry is run by people that are not creative, or how do I say this? They're not creatively aligned in a way that directors and actors and creative people are. So
no, that's why they're money people.
The things that we get today are based off of money and promotions and IPs more than it is this a good story that we're telling? Which is, I think, part of the reason that we're always complaining about modern horror. The thing that they do so fucking well in this movie, and it's because the reason I bring that up is this is before we really started letting non-creative people run this business. And I'm not saying that they weren't running the business completely, like in like Wizard of Oz, and like obviously there's shit on that side back then that was happening, but I'm talking about specifically horror movies. Horror movies were made by people that loved horror movies, and this has been a reoccurring theme that we've been talking about the last 3 or 4 episodes.
This is not a genre that people were going to invest.
It wasn't a genre that made money.
No, well, that's what I'm saying. Is this is not a genre that people without creative vision were going to dump money into, especially hundreds of thousands of dollars in the 70s when a home cost $50.
And now I feel like if you were going to make the Loomis character, if we were just going to sit down and write, like, we would use, not we specifically, but like we as a collective generation of filmmakers and audience, I feel like Loomis would be used as a plot dumping device versus how he's used here, which is more of a, he almost is sort of the audience because he's so far behind where Michael is, but he has so much more information than the audience does, which does allow him to plot dump, but it doesn't feel like it's done in a way that is because they feel like the audience doesn't get it. It's done in a way that helps you understand the context of why he's doing what he's doing. And more specifically, for instance, the Judith Myers gravestone. That is not deeply laid out of why he does that. Loomis does give you some explanation for why that happens, but it is context clues, and it is not ever really laid out in a way that like this is why he does that. And I think that that's the kind of stuff, that's the reason that this movie holds up, because they don't give you every single answer. You have to think about why the fuck would he do that? Why is he chasing after Laurie specifically? Why is he killing all of her friends? There's so much stuff that is left unsaid in this, and most of it is ruined in Halloween 2, to be fair, but I'm trying to talk about this as just Halloween 1. I think that this is one of the strongest horror movies ever made. Loomis is one of the best plot devices ever in horror history. I think that Michael Myers is quite possibly one of the greatest horror figures ever created. And that anybody and
Michael
anybody,
Myers, Sam from Trick or Treat.
I actually think
Kidding.
I mean, Sam's good, but I don't think he's anywhere near Mount Rushmore. But like the reason that Jason and any other slasher, I keep saying this, any other slasher exists is because of this movie. So I don't know, dude. Yeah. This is just one of those things that when I was watching it last night to review this film, it is the first time I've watched it in a way, because I watch this every year, every Halloween, every October. This comes out. I have 4 or 5 different copies of this on fucking every single format that you could think of. This is a movie I watch every year. But this year when I watched it, I was really watching it, like breaking down the cinematography, the shadows, the lighting, everything, like production side, is so insanely fucking good. The script is so goddamn strong. That's the other thing that I just kept thinking last night, is how insanely strong, lean, and like well put together the plot is. Dude, it's so contained, and it's because it happens in this little suburban area, it feels really mapped out. The whole town of Haddonfield feels real. We see things that aren't really seemingly on the surface, like the hardware store being broken into and stuff like that. It all plays in together, but on the surface none of it does. And it's just, I could sit here and blow this movie all day long. It's on every level, this is just a master horror movie on every fucking level. And Carpenter is dude, he may be one of the best horror directors of all time.
I mean, dude, all you really got to do is look at his fucking filmography, man. I mean, it's just it's a collection of horror perfection as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, dude. I mean, let's just go. And we didn't even touch on his music. He's got 33 film correcting.
Sorry if there's click clacks. The dog just came in.
It's all good. Dude, Escape from LA, Village of the Damned, In the Mouth of Madness, Body Bags, Memoirs of an Invisible Man, They Live, Prince of Darkness, Big Trouble in Little China, Starman, Christine, The Thing, Escape from New York, The Fog, Halloween. Dude, I mean, holy fuck.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, dude, it's an insane resume.
His Masters of Horror episode's really fucking, and he's got 2. I don't know if I know the other one. Either way, this man is possibly one of the greatest directors of all time. Like, just legit one of the greatest directors of all time. All right. Well, I mean, with all that being said, we're not saying anything people don't know already. None of this is like, no. Holy shit, have you guys seen Halloween? Whoa! Like, that is not what we're saying. I think that
we found this gem buried in the annals of movies.
Watching this again under the headspace of filmmaking totally changed my perception of what this movie is. I've always loved this movie, but really watching it from the perspective of how it's made, how it's put together, how it was written, and as somebody who's been really diving into writing and stuff the last few years, the writing in this is phenomenal. And like we said, some of the acting outside of the main one or two people, Loomis is great. I also think that what's her face is great too. I'm blanking on her name.
Jamie Lee
Curtis. I think
she's fantastic.
That she's great in that too. Everybody else is kind of okay in this. They're serviceable.
Well, to be fair, everyone around Loomis, Michael, and Laurie are throwaway characters. Yeah. They're just
other than maybe the sheriff. The sheriff's okay.
Yeah, but I mean, dude, like her, I wrote down one note, and that's usually for me a sign of a good movie, by the way. When my notes have like 1 or 2 real notes, it means that I was really getting pulled into the movie, and really, really analyzing it because there was something to pay attention to. My one note is Laurie needs better friends. Because, and I don't mean actors. I mean, her friends are
mean
bad people.
Yeah.
They're mean to her. Yeah. And I'm sitting here going like, at a certain point, it feels like a big brother defending his sister.
Yeah, I mean, especially frizzy hair girl. She's like a real bitch. She's like a real bitch.
Yeah. I love the phone call where she's ragging on the guy for only ever thinking about sex, and then immediately goes into, I think about a lot of other things. Why don't you come over so we can stop thinking about them? Die, please, fucking die.
Well, and the worst part is she's got like, I think, the lamest kill in the movie. I think the ghost, the sheet kill is probably the best kill in this movie, where he
it's
comes
so cool.
and that's such a great example of building tension. And this is what I mean when I say the writing is really good. As an audience, we know Michael Myers has killed her boyfriend. We also know, as the audience, she has no idea that that's happened. So when he opens that fucking door, he's wearing dude's glasses over the fucking sheet. Not only is that a fucking iconic, and it's one of the first things I think of when I think of Halloween, I think of Michael Myers in the sheet with the glasses on. But I also think it's a masterclass in fucking writing, because you know what the audience has all this information that the character interacting with the killer doesn't have. And it is just the perfect way to build tension. And he does it multiple times in this movie where he knows the audience has X amount of information. He knows that the fucking people in the scene don't, but what creates that fucking tension, it's the fucking, the bomb. Do you know what I'm talking about? Hitchcock had this thing about the bomb underneath the table. You can show two people, and I'm going to butcher this whole thing and paraphrase the fuck out of it. But basically, you can have two people talking in a scene across the table from another. And you can show them speaking to another over the shoulder shots and stuff like that. The second you show the bomb under the table, you're completely flipping the dynamic of the scene. Because now the audience has information that the fucking people in the scene doesn't have. And so it completely changes the audience perspective on, and the scene in the Tarantino Nazi movie, Inglourious Bastards, where we know as the audience, she's under the fucking floorboards. The guy with the big pipe, Christoph, he figures that she's around there somewhere. The guy defending his home knows that so two people in that scene know that she's under the floorboards. All of this is just a long fucking winded way to say that scene in the sheet is the great fucking use of the bomb under the table theory from Hitchcock and what Tarantino and so many other great directors do. It's you give the audience more information than the people in the scene have, which creates this weird dynamic, and it is something only film can do. There's no other art form that can fucking do that in a way that plays with expectations, and it's just, dude, it's genius. It's just everything I love about film in that one scene.
Dude, that scene, it's funny you bring that up specifically, because that scene to me, I think really, really shows and puts on full display how sinister and diabolical Michael Myers really is, because that one scene shows he's intelligent.
Yeah.
It
shows he's playing with his prey.
he's playing with his prey. The motherfucker is cheetahing these teens.
Yes.
And
playing with his prey is not the right way to say that, but yeah. Playing with his
It
food.
Sort of is, actually.
Is it? No, because he's the.
I think it is.
Okay, maybe
because he's having fun.
Yeah,
with
you're
it.
right. You're right.
He's escalating it, like within the course of a day. Because let's not forget, this shit happens over the course of 24 hours.
Yeah,
and it's showing the escalation. I don't know if they did that on purpose, but given John Carpenter's skill, I'm going to say he knew exactly what the fuck he was doing with this. It shows this escalation of, I don't know if you want to call it creativity, intelligence, evil, but that one scene shows that he is thinking about this. He is making a game out of it.
I was going to say, it shows that he takes pleasure from it, because the other kills before that are not, I mean, it's fucked up and he's killing people, but it is not in a way that seems like he is having fun with it, which is why that scene is so fucked up, because he's literally fucking with her and making her like go crazy before he fucking kills her. It's crazy.
Well, and dude, that's actually what makes him scary. Like scary can be a lot of different things, but when you walk away from a movie going, that motherfucker could be next door.
Yeah.
That's scary, dude. That's scary.
Well, and all this leads into the last thing I want to talk about here before we get into our ratings, which is we actually see his face in this. And this goes back to what I was saying, where I feel like this was really well done from the perspective of we're making a standalone film. And this was obviously before everybody was making films, specifically horror films with franchises in mind. So you can tell this is a standalone movie because we see his fucking face. And you can tell they left it open because we don't know where he is by the end of this movie. So when we see his face, it really is a big deal because it's like, this is just a guy. Loomis has been running around the whole time. This guy's evil, 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 evil. And you see his face and he's just some guy. Like, and that is the scariest fucking part of all of it, is because you expect him to be this fucking monster. And then the mask comes off and it's just some dude. And that's possibly the most genius thing out of all of this, is that it's not a Jason-like figure. It is just some dude, like you said, that could be next door. And that is why this is so fucking scary, because it's happening in suburbia and it could be anybody. So,
yep.
Yeah. All right. Well, why don't you give me your final thoughts and ratings on Halloween from 1978?
Dude, I can't add to anything we've said. We have covered pretty much everything. This movie is everything we've said and more. If you haven't seen it, just throw your TV out the fucking window, to be quite honest. You don't deserve your TV. You don't deserve to have access to movies. It's everywhere.
Yeah.
It's on Shudder if you would like to go watch it. It's available in the cheapest format, and if you haven't watched it by now, you don't deserve to have eyes. And it is a
on Zumo Play
class
for free as well, whatever that is.
There you go. You can go. You can go watch it for free. But the bottom line is, you should have seen it already. Yeah. It's almost 50 years old at this point. But it's impossible. It is impossible to overstate the place this movie holds in the horror realm. It really is. It's perfection incarnate, and it deserves every single 10-star rating I'm giving it.
All right. Yeah. You know, I once was in, you're going to find this very funny. I'm going to keep this part short. I was once in a relationship where a girl told me, I have found that real horror fans like Friday the 13th more than they like Halloween. That's something a full-grown adult woman said to me one time.
I remember her.
And I remember thinking, only the stupid ones do. And now let me clarify that. I love Friday the 13th. I've got posters of it up on my wall. I've got multiple $100
population.
I know, but my point is this is a smarter movie than the first Friday the 13th. Now, the first Friday the 13th does some stuff. This is really blown out. This is so blown out.
Yes, it is. I didn't want to ruin what you were saying, but yes, it is.
So Friday the 13th does some really strong things in its own way, and it plays with expectations and stuff. And maybe we should review that pretty soon too, because that has its own place in horror history. But
sure.
Let's be honest, that movie wouldn't exist without this movie, which, like I said earlier, you can trace most slashers' roots back to this movie in one way or another. And there is a reason for that. It's because this is a almost perfect film. And it has stood the test of time because of that. The monster is scary. The slasher, rather. The slasher is scary. It's well written. The protagonist is somebody that you can emotionally invest yourself in because she's not a horrible person. This lays out a trope where the good girl lives for decades after this. I also think that if we zoom out a little bit, I think it's really fucking cool that we've seen Laurie, regardless of how many times they retcon it. I think it's really cool. We've seen Laurie pop up in different times throughout her life, from H2O all the way up to the new ones. And it is somebody that we have followed since 1978 all the way up until a few years ago. And I think that's really fucking cool, regardless of how good or bad you think those movies are. So this franchise is really fucking special. This movie is really fucking special. If you watch this with a good eye or a love for good writing and just a love of like crime movies or horror movies, dude, this is top tier all the way around. You're going to be hard pressed to find a movie that is better than this. So I am also going to give this a 10 out of 10. I think that this is as close to a perfect horror movie as you could possibly get. So
it's good. It's good you did. The existence of this podcast and YouTube channel was weighing on the rating you gave this movie.
Dude, I think you're naive if you give this anything other than a at least close to perfect score. Just straight.
Yep.
I think you're just straight naive.
9 or higher. It has to be 9 or higher.
For sure. Just because of everything
and you know
it's
what?
done.
If you don't, you're wrong.
Yeah.
You're wrong.
So if you like this, make sure you hit that like button. If you really liked it, make sure you hit that subscribe button because we got a lot more stuff like this on the channel. What did you think of Halloween? Do you think we're wrong? Do you think we're dumb? Do you think Friday the 13th is better? Let us know down in the comments. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you guys next time from the deep. Bye-bye.
Ta-ta.